name is Somo Broy and my topic for today's session is Phillips curve. Let us understand what is Phillips curve. Phillips curve basically is the trade-off between two components. We will discuss about that. Let's first write it down. It is the trade-off between two components. Now, what are the two components? One is inflation, the rate of inflation. Second one is unemployment. So these are the two components which leads to or give birth to the Phillips curve. Now what does trade-off between these two means? It means that there is an inverse relation, we can say. Like if inflation will increase, the rate of unemployment will decrease, or vice versa. That means, or if the unemployment rate will increase, the rate of inflation will decrease. When this relation is depicted in the form of a diagram or a graph, so that is called as Phillips curve. We will get more with it, but let's first understand how it started, how it all became. Okay, so for that we need to understand about the Keynesian theory. Not exactly, now we'll not go very detail into it. We will give you a brief introduction about the same. So Keynes, what does Keynes said? Keynes said that the aggregate supply curve is of inverse L shape, like this. I'll draw it. This is the rate of inflation here on the y-axis and the rate of unemployment on the x-axis. So he said that let us consider that this point is the full employment level of employment. At this point the economy is at the full level of employment. So he said that up to this point the aggregate supply curve will be a straight line like this, and after this point it will again become a horizontal straight line. So this will be the aggregate supply curve. And if we make a proper study about this, if we get into this relation, we will come to know that there is a trade-off between this. Like if I am at this point, let us consider that the economy is at this point A. At this point the rate of unemployment is OC and the rate of inflation is, let us consider, OD. Okay, now economy started moving because it is not yet at the full employment level. So economy is moving, and now the economy is at this point B. At this point the rate of unemployment increased. It became from OC to, let us say, OE, but the rate of inflation is same. It is still same. So that is from OC to OE, in unemployment increased but inflation same. So this is what is depicting that there is a trade-off between these two components. So this was further studied by one more economist. Let us study about that now. Let us go into the Phillips curve. So this was the history of the Phillips curve, that how it started. On the basis of this, economist, that is A.W. Phillips, he made a further empirical study about the Phillips curve, about the trade-off between these two components, and he studied about 100 countries, 100 years of data of the UK. He made a study of UK of the data of 100 years, and he studied in 1958. He made his study in 1958, and in his study he found out that this is true, that there is a trade-off between these two components, that is the rate of inflation on one hand and the rate of unemployment on the other. Let us see how he got to know that and what he discovered from it. He made a study about this, and from that data he noticed that the Phillips curve is not the inverse L shape. Like he said that the aggregate supply is inverse L shape. He made something another. He found out, let's take it, the rate of inflation on this side, that is the y-axis, and again the rate of unemployment on the x-axis. Here it is x, it is y, and 0. Okay, so with this, he found out that there existed a stable Phillips curve. It is downward sloping, but this one is stable. Means the economy will be at this Phillips curve only. Let us take any point on this curve. Like for example, I took this point. This let us name as A. Now at A point, the rate of inflation is OC, and the rate of unemployment is OD. Right? Now moving ahead, let's say due to some or the other reasons, inflation rate decreased. Like we all know that when the economy moves to the rate of the full employment level, the prices decrease because the technology is properly used, resources are efficiently used, right? So what happened, due to which inflation decreased. Now if the inflation decreased, he noticed that when he made a study of the UK, he noticed that when the rate of inflation decreased and came down from OC to OE, he noticed that the rate of unemployment increased. It came to point B on this Phillips curve. So this showed that there is an inflation, or there is, an inverse relation between these two components. There is inverse relation between the two. Even if you move from this point, for example, if you are not at point F, you are at point D, or if you are not at, take some another point, whatever be the point, you will come to know that this is the Phillips curve. That is, there is a relation, or there is an inverse relation between inflation on one hand and unemployment on the other. Now this was what Phillips discovered, but ultimately what happened when further studies were made, what happened that this Phillips curve collapsed. It came to be noticed that the stable Phillips curve, because he said that this is the stable Phillips curve. He said that the Phillips curve is stable. That means this will be like this. The economy will be on this curve, and it will keep on moving up and down on this particular curve. But this does not happen. At the end, what happened? Other economists noticed, and they used the data of USA of 1970s, 1980s, early 1980s, and then late 1980s also, and found out that this thing is not true. It is not the stable Phillips curve that existed. The Phillips curve took another shape. Let us see what was that shape. There was a little difference in that, but a major one. How was it? Here, rate of inflation, again, rate of inflation and rate of unemployment. So they came to know that the Phillips curve was something like this. So for 1970s, 80s, 90s, the Phillips curve was different. It was like this, taking new shape. And at this point, what is happening? Both the components are increasing or decreasing simultaneously. So due to which the Phillips curve collapsed. This is what we know about the Phillips curve, and I hope you like this session. Thank you.